equals in the very heart of a long-forgotten suburb, a lone house stood resolutely shrouded in a dense, heavy fog that stubbornly clung to its weathered walls. The peeling paint, a testament to the years gone by, whispered haunting tales of better times that once were, while a sagging, rusted mailbox guarded the secrets of forgotten letters long overdue for retrieval. Inside, the air was permeated with the stale aroma of old coffee mingling with the scent of unwashed linens, remnants of an unlived life that once breathed vibrancy. This decrepit dwelling was Nathaniel's sanctuary, a place where the chaotic outside world faded into a muted hum, weighed down heavily by the weight of his choices and unchosen paths. At the worn, battered kitchen table, Nathaniel sat staring intently into an empty, chipped mug, wrestling with his thoughts as he tried to untangle the intricate threads of a past that had woven itself into a tapestry rich in regret. Hesitant rays of sunlight filtered through a grimy, dust-covered window, casting long, elongated shadows around him, seemingly mocking his immobility and paralysis. Every creak of the old house echoed with the weight of memories, significant moments that he could never reclaim, locked away in time. Once upon a time, his life had been vibrant, overflowing with hope, ambition, and dreams waiting to be realized. A promising architecture career, a career that once glimmered with potential, now stumbled and faltered akin to the sad, sagging couch that occupied his living room, weighed down under the relentless burden of time and inevitable decline. Everything in his life had once held a brilliant shine, a shining brilliance that dimmed on one fateful evening when a singular choice spiraled him down into the depths of despair. Fragments of that night bubbled to the surface of his conscience, vivid flashes of a party filled with laughter, joy, and a fleeting glance exchanged between him and Clara. She had been nothing short of captivating, a whirlwind of effervescent energy, awakening something deep within him, a dormant yearning long buried beneath layers of monotonous routine. In a moment fueled by fleeting desire, he sacrificed their cherished friendship for an exhilarating thrill that ultimately morphed into a malignant force of heartbreak. He had allowed temptation to cloud his judgment, betraying not just Clara, but ultimately betraying himself. Days blurred seamlessly into weeks as those agonizing memories of that night replayed endlessly in Nathaniel's tortured mind. Guilt tightened around his stomach like a heavy, leaden weight, rendering him almost immobile. Her laughter, once a melody that danced through his mind, became an echoing silence, their once vibrant friendship fracturing like brittle ice caught beneath the chill of autumn frost. Clara withdrew from him, her warmth and light replaced by a chilling coldness that wrapped around him like a shroud. Each unreturned text felt like a dagger, piercing through the heart of their connection and serving as a bitter reminder of what they had lost. He longed desperately to rewind time, to choose differently, but the weight of his choice pressed down on him mercilessly, night and day. Outside, the world mirrored the chaos and turmoil of his inner emotional landscape, presenting a perpetually gray cycle of fog that hung heavily over everything. He navigated life as if encased in a transparent glass bubble, observing its happenings from a distance, but never truly interacting or engaging with the world around him. Friends seemed to fade quietly away, drawn to new relationships and connections beyond the reach of his self-imposed isolation, their loyalty splintering under the weight of the story that Nathaniel refused to share with anyone. Clara's absence echoed through the hollow, desolate halls of his mind, amplifying the profound sense of loneliness that had taken root within him. His dreams twisted into haunting nightmares, each one a vivid tableau featuring Clara's face twisted in betrayal. He replayed that moment he kissed her, the warmth in her eyes shifting to disbelief, then transforming into unbridled fury. Each morning, he awoke drenched in cold sweat, haunted by the ghosts of actions that had shattered him, leaving deep emotional scars. As days turned into an indistinguishable blur, the guilt he carried morphed into madness. In his desperate quest for solace in the solid ground of routine, Nathaniel mistakenly believed that distraction could absolve him of his misdeeds. He immersed himself in an unreal world of work, diligently redesigning non-existent buildings, pouring endless energy into blueprints that were devoid of life. Yet, with each stroke of the pencil, he felt a profound sense of superficiality, merely attempting to erase the tarnished memories of the past. He chased after elusive deadlines and prestigious awards, pursuing shadows that always lingered just beyond his reach. However, fate possesses a peculiar way of intricately intertwining lives with invisible threads of destiny. One particularly rainy night, Clara appeared before him, a specter risen from the depths of his remorse and regret, her face pale and weary, bearing the marks of a year of self-imposed exile. The knock at the door pierced his heart, fracturing the fragile calm he had maintained for so long. "Can we talk?" she asked, her voice thick and heavy with unspoken words that hovered like storm clouds overhead. Nathaniel's heart raced, caught in a perpetual turmoil torn between relief and dread. Each beat echoed his deep-seated guilt, feeding the anxiety that coiled around him like a serpent. The space that existed between them crackled ominously with unresolved tension. As she stepped into the dimly lit room, the familiar sense of mint and rosemary enveloped him, untouched by the passing of time. Their conversation began, fragile as a delicate spider's web stretched precariously between their pain-laden worlds. They danced clumsily around life updates, punctuated by uncomfortable laughter and agonizingly awkward pauses. Yet the lingering question, a gaping, festering wound, lay just beneath the surface, waiting to erupt into a confrontation neither was entirely prepared for. "Why did you do it?" Clara finally asked, her piercing gaze probing the unspoken truth Nathaniel had spent so long avoiding. The response lodged painfully in his throat, heavy with fear and regret. He wanted to explain it all as a mere mistake driven by fleeting desire, yet the words remained painfully elusive. He witnessed anger flash in her eyes, igniting the smoldering embers of their once-cherished friendship. "You chose a momentary thrill of pleasure over our years together. You think I can simply forget that?" Her words hung in the thick air like a sword, poised precariously on a fragile thread, and for the first time in countless ages, Nathaniel felt the weight of accountability suffocating him. A sharp pang of regret surged within him, as piercing as a knife, as memories flooded back, shared laughter, whispered confidences, promises stitched together with threads of loyalty. They sat in profound silence, absorbed in their own turmoil as they struggled to find grounding within the tether of what had once been, each one afraid to draw any final conclusions about the past. The conversation meandered into fragments of bittersweet memories, intertwining regrets with fleeting moments of joy that had once defined their connection. "Maybe, I thought it could be a game," Nathaniel finally admitted, his voice strained by raw honesty. "But it became a wrecking ball. I was selfish to think you wouldn't mind." Clara's expression hardened, steely determination etched in the lines of her face. "It's not merely about your fleeting desire. You made a conscious choice, and now, you must endure the burden of living with the consequences of that choice." Following that confession, an oppressive tension hung thickly in the air. Nathaniel felt as though he stood at the edge of an abyss, familiar yet deeply unnerving. The clouds of guilt loomed ominously overhead. Life, as he had known it, had irrevocably changed forever. He could never reclaim those innocent moments now lost to the betrayal of his decisions. As their conversation unfurled, Nathaniel felt the enormity of fate closing in around them. Clara rose to leave, her eyes brimming with unshed tears, an ultimate farewell that shattered his already broken heart into countless irreparable pieces. Silence enveloped them like a heavy blanket. While the world outside was a cacophony, in that moment, all he felt was the ghost of their friendship fading into oblivion, as Clara turned away, leaving him alone with nothing but his shattered heart. "You need to consider who you are, Nathaniel." Her voice trailed behind her as she walked away, a promise that vanished into thin air, fractured and lost. All alone again in the house that had both sheltered and imprisoned him, the thick fog outside deepened, consuming the fading light. Nathaniel stared out through the murky window, watching as shadows blended together into a singular amalgamation of darkness, slowly understanding the truth masked by the dense fog. He was both the architect and demolisher of his own life, the designer of his ruin. What once was now lay irreversibly lost, an inevitable unfolding of choices that would forever linger like unspoken goodbyes. The house echoed around him, amplifying the quiet despair that matched the storm brewing within his soul. Time slipped away insidiously like grains of sand through fingers, as Nathaniel wrestled with the ambiguous weight of his failures. The indistinct resolution danced before him, a blur of justice and punishment, intertwined with the tidal wave of choices made along the way. He began to realize that redemption appeared as a distant shore, ever unattainable, as he navigated through the choices made in pursuit of ephemeral moments of happiness. The clock on the wall ticked steadily, a metronome marking his descent into contemplation's crushing embrace. It served as a constant reminder of the burdens held tightly within the confines of his mind, an echo reverberating deep within his heart. In that moment of introspection, Nathaniel came to understand the cruel and unforgiving nature of fate. Each decision rippled outward through the tapestry of life, creating waves of consequence woven intricately with existence itself. As shadows deepened yet further, he contemplated whether the hope he had once clung to so fiercely had vanished forever into the void, leaving behind a hollow emptiness that could never truly be filled. And in that uncertainty, the goodbye lingered, twisted yet achingly real, defiantly haunting him amidst the empty spaces of love irrevocably lost to the choices he had made long ago.